we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 102 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So I am just coming off of a pretty nasty sniffle and roaming the countryside in the mobile doomsday studios. Dude, I don't usually tell people about things like blowing my nose, but good God almighty, man, I shot enough snot to fill an entire skull out of my face this morning, and it was like I could breathe just nice for just a second. It was mighty fine. But anyway, yeah, sorry about all the delay, man. It's the holidays, everything sucks, everybody's miserable, and there's so much to talk about, so many psyops in so few days. And I actually started recording something, but then it became like, dude, all this new shit, man. There's so much new shit has come to light. And I had to pause and rewind and rethink and relook and all this shit. So I guess kind of in order, I guess kind of in order, the stuff I wanted to hit on today was first the more recent goings on, like the Elon street shitter debacle, and that was, dude, what a show, and what a show. I wanted to hit on that, and I don't know that I have any fantastically fresh takes, but I don't know, I got some thoughts on the matter. I also wanted to hit on this, dude, I don't even know, some of these broke dick terror attacks. Like, well, we deserve a better brand of terrorist, that's all I'm saying. And I guess by way of wrapping it all, in a package, my word for the year, and I don't remember who floated this, somebody floated it in the chat, rug-pilled, right, as the derivative of rug pull, which I thought is also a pretty great term. But yeah, man, everything is a trick fuck, everything is fake and gay. Nothing is what it appears to be. Everything is something designed to spin you up or spin you down or jerk you around and move you this way or that way. But nothing is ever straightforward. And I think that will kind of lead nicely into the thing I wanted to wrap up on, and that being my Spanish Inquisition. I finally finished this fucking book, and it was pretty much as suspected, dude. Well, it was pretty much as suspected, but it's so much more kosher than I could have ever guessed. I mean, it was primarily kosher. Like us, like, what do you hear in, grade school or whenever you start getting pitched this shit? Which I think is its own atrocity, that like they're going to tell you about this shit, but we're not going to give you the details. We're just kind of give you like the takeaway that we want you to walk around with. And like Spanish Inquisition, what was that? Oh, that's just where like the church is like, they like stretch you and rack you and they like kill people. Why? Because the church is like bad and stuff. So like that's what they did. So they did that to people, dude. And there was like this scientist dude that said that like the earth wasn't the center of like the universe. So like the church like wanted to kill him. And that's what it was about for several hundred years. It was about this one guy. Yes, that's what it was about. But we'll get to that in due course. So anyway, out of the gate, the Elon H1B tip. I saw some of the numbers, and I want to say it was in the neighborhood of like 700,000, some kind of shit. Of like, yeah, come on over, man. Bring your auntie, bring your fucking 9 niños, bring your fucking Uncle Street shit, and come on over here and do your thing. I want to say it was that much. I couldn't remember for sure. If somebody's got solid info on that, I would love to see it, but it's a fucking lot. So this is on top of what some estimates are saying, around 50 million illegals just hanging out here. And that could be anybody that either snuck in over the border or somebody that came in on a legit visa and just decided like, yeah, I'm fucking staying. You can't make me fucking leave. I'll just fucking stay. So it's a lot of fucking people. But you got to remember, though, you know, when you say, oh, H-1Bs, that's like a drop in the bucket compared to the illegals. That's the real problem. Dude, illegals aren't like authorized to like, yeah, bring everybody you fucking know. Illegals aren't offered any kind of a benefit, any kind of a bonus. And I can't remember the name of it, of the program or the process, but I had mentioned it once before and it was covered on Fashion Nation a while ago. And it's this deal where when you go, well, like the Indians or the Chinese will be like, well, you lazy white man, you're this, you're that, you don't own a fucking gas station, you're not willing to work, and this kind of shit. This absolute boomer fucking take of like, well, these Americans are just, these kids are so lazy. Motherfucker, it's not fucking lazy. It's that there is no fucking end in it. You have no way to get this fucking job. And even on the off chance you get some broke dick fucking nickel an hour job, you're never going to get a fucking raise. And the minute this fucking Pajit or fucking Ling Hung Soo can fucking replace your ass, they're going to. And now you're back out on the fucking street. So what does the smart man do? The smart man realizes like there's no fucking benefit to this. I'll take the fucking welfare. It's the only option I have until you can fucking make your way to college or trade school or something and get a job that you can't be fired in order for some fucking H-1B dude to hire his fucking nephew. Until you can get to that position, you're fucked. So this idea, oh, these lazy Americans, it's fucking non-starter, dude. That's fucking bullshit. But I get ahead of myself. So the thing was that there's this deal where some Indian comes over, some Chinese dude comes over, they open a fucking gas station. This was the incentive to draw the bunny ears best and brightest from around the world, is that they give them these tax benefits, these tax exemptions, where like, yeah, we're not going to tax you the same way that we would tax Joe Smith over there. We're not going to tax you the same way we would tax, you know, the white man that should be opening a gas station in this country. We're not going to treat you the same as him. We're going to give you a huge tax break. That's already fucked up enough. But the loophole on this thing was that whenever they change hands, whenever they say, well, I'm going to sell this gas station. Oh, well, who are you selling it to? Well, I'm selling it to this other H-1B dude. And, you know, never mind that the H-1B dude just happens to be the guy's nephew or some shit. That doesn't matter. It could be his nephew, his brother, his dad, his wife, whoever. You're selling it to somebody different. I'm selling it to them. They're also an H-1B. But now that window restarts. Where like, yeah, you have like whatever, 1, 2, 3 years of this tax benefit, whatever it is. Now it restarts. So they're going to get that same tax benefit. It just restarts again. So if I've got this thing, I sell it to my H-1B wife. Now the window starts again for her, and now the money's coming to the same house. It's still coming to my house. It's just in her name. There's no fucking difference. So essentially, you're running a tax-free business, and then you're laughing at white people saying, well, why can't you fucking compete? Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm lazy. Anyway, I mean, long and short, a blind man's dog could look at any of these immigrant problems and tell you that the problem here is not laziness or diligence or work ethic or any of this kind of shit. It's that this H-1B thing, like all these immigrant things, this is not to draw the best and brightest. This is to draw cheap labor. This is to make it so the guy fucking, you know, selling the stereos, the fucking strawberries, whatever the fuck it is going to maximize the amount of money he brings in while minimizing the amount of money he has to pay out to the people actually doing the job. So mind you now, when those people leave those countries, if you want to draw the best and brightest, right? Never mind that, like, you pull those, if that was actually what you were doing, right? You're pulling those people out of those countries. What does it do to those countries? It fucks them all up. And now what happens in your country, in the U.S. or any Western country, England, France, Spain, what happens in your country? Well, now you've got lobbyists saying, well, what about these poor bastards over here? Like, these are potential markets for us. We need to get them up on their feet, and that's going to help us bring in revenue, which is more taxes for the government, and a better government is better service to the people. So how can we help those people? Oh, well, we can help them using your tax dollars. So now they're sending your aid money out the door. They're going to get a little taste on the back end, just like with this Ukraine thing. These politicians saying, oh, yeah, we got to do the right thing and help out. They're getting a fucking taste. You think they're not getting a fucking taste? How do you think these fucking clowns are worth hundreds of millions on a job that doesn't pay more than $200,000 a year? How the fuck is that possible? right? How the fuck do you think Dan Crenshaw is shitting in tall cotton on, not a tiny salary, but that guy ain't making practical joke money, and yet somehow, right? How the fuck do you think this happens? Because they're getting a taste, right? They're telling you they're going to give you this thing, and then they're rug pulling you. So walking around rug pulled once again. But I digress, because that's not even the thing that I'm really, really, really trying to get at here. Because you look at this fucking H-1B thing, like, it's pretty fucking obvious, like the Elon angle, we see what this was. And for my money, I think this was actually something he got sent out there to say, like, that's the price of admission. Like, you're going to be kind of the wind dummy on a lot of this shit, and like, hey, go out there and say this shit and see what people say. Because, I mean, Donald Trump has already talked about, like, yeah, I'll staple a green card to every college diploma. I want the best and brightest. And everybody's like, what the fuck? But now when he sends somebody out there, Elon in this case, like, hey, man, seriously, go out there and float this shit and see what people think of it. He's like, well, why don't you fucking say it? Because I'm the fucking boss now, and you're going to go do it. And if they don't like it, it's you they're going to be pissed at, not me. So go out there and say this shit. See what people say. So he goes out there, and obviously people are not fucking hep to it. People don't think that shit is fucking cool. It's not a fucking secret, right? But then on the back end of that, here comes fucking Vivek Ramaswamy. And I will tell you what, I would want to walk around patting myself on the back saying, see, I was right about this motherfucker. Because I heard a lot of people saying, nobody in our circles really, obviously, but I did hear a lot of these broke dick, brain dead, bunny ears conservative types saying, oh, that Vivek, man, that's a conservative motherfucker. He really embodies, the American values, and that's a good fuck. That would be a good pick. That would be a really good pick, I think. He's a fucking hard ass. He's not gonna take shit from these demon rats. And straight away, I said, man, fuck that guy. That street shitting motherfucker. He's not a white dude. That guy doesn't fucking represent me. I don't know or care how long he's been in this country, because he can't be more than 1-2 generations tops. So I don't give a shit how long he's been here. I don't give a fuck what he's got to say. Sure as shit, the guy came out with, yeah, we gotta have these people, and I'll tell you why, because Americans are lazy. Your culture is lazy. You want to know why India's getting ahead? It's because they're putting in 80 hours a week. They're the ones out there, really putting out, doing that hard work. That's why they're ahead, bro. It's just work ethic, bro. That's what it is. You got to learn from them. And maybe if we bring enough of them in, they'll help you realize what you have to do to get ahead, what you have to do to make something of yourself. Maybe that's a pretty good idea. And I'm like, 1, go fuck yourself. 2, if you were working like 80 hours a week, I would say, dude, you're not working fucking effectively. This is fucking stupid. All right? This is nonsense. You are not fucking working 80 hours a week. If you're putting that kind of time in, you're fucking running yourself into the ground. That's fucking bullshit. All right? 1, it's bullshit and you're not working effectively. And 2, that's not fucking living, man. And if you've ever been to that part of the world, and unfortunately as fuck, I have. I have not been to India proper. I've been through Sri Lanka, and you don't want any part of it, dude. It fucking blows. I mean, you want to talk about absolute pit of hell? I mean, there are motherfuckers, and you see this in a lot of third world joints, whether it's like Indonesia or Malaysia or Sri Lanka or the Philippines or Thailand or any of this shit. These places fucking suck, dude. You don't want to fucking be there, because the average Joe is suffering. The average Joe is getting up in the morning and like, what's your day consist of? Like, man, I just hustle. I try to get a couple dollars together. I try to stay alive. That's my life, dude. That's what I do. That's how I live. I don't want any part of that shit. But they're talking about, you want to bring that here. I mean, what's acceptable there is like, some people have a shit ton of money. Most people don't have shit. All right, most people are living in like you go to a fucking storage unit, any average storage unit with the roll-up door. That's what most people are living in, or some kind of lean-to shanty, where they got like a storage container that somebody abandoned and they take pieces and parts of it, or maybe somehow just set up shop right in that fucking thing and like, yeah, I live in here, dude. I got a hole in the roof, so I made like my own little chimney, and I got a fire in the corner for when it gets cold. and this is where I live, dude. This is how I live. I shit in the street. I hustle street food. I steal shit. Sometimes I get caught, but that's okay because they at least give you something to eat in jail. It fucking sucks. It's not a way to live. That's normal there. But then even the rich people there are like, you're still a dirty motherfucker, dude. You smell like a fucking foot. I don't want that shit here. But even that is not the total argument. You know, because even if we sit here and say like, well, let's argue the merits of this culture, that culture, this tiger mom shit of, you know, like some Asian woman breaking nuts on her kid. About like, hey, you're going to have to do 2-3 hours of homework a night. You want those straight A's, right? You want Stanford, right? Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Come on, more math. Let's go. I'm not even going to fucking sit and argue. Like, is this going to get you into Stanford quicker than that? Is this going to make you a successful engineer quicker than that? Is this going to get you that fucking house on the water? Any of this shit. I don't care about that. And I'll tell you why. Because one fucking thing, dude. It ain't your fucking country, motherfucker. None of this shit to me comes down to better or fucking worse. All right, let me illustrate what I'm talking here. So, if I'm like super motherfucking trained up race car driver guy, and I see some guy over there with a really sweet fucking car, I don't get to fucking walk up to him and go, you know what, I look at you, I see you're just a regular fucking schnook. You're not doing shit with this fucking car. You don't even know how to drive this thing. Get the fuck out of here and let me have this. No, you can't do that. Nobody would expect you to be able to do that. You can't do that shit. Why? Because it ain't fucking yours. You don't get to just walk up, you know, if you're a fucking jacked and tan motherfucker, big dick swinging, and you see some, you know, I don't know, software tech engineer schlub who's got a fat stack of money and he's got this hot piece of ass, you don't get to walk up to that guy and like, yeah, I know you're fucking paid and maybe she's a gold digger, but look at that ass. You're not hitting this right. Get the fuck off of there and give it to me. It's mine. It should be mine. Get out of here. You don't get to fucking roll like that. Nobody does. Why? Because it's fucking his scene. You don't get to just fucking roll in and be like, well, my X, Y, and Z is fucking better. Your shit is now my shit. It don't fucking work like that. But apparently somehow, you know, in this country, in Western countries, this is what we've been fucking reduced to. That your country is basically like a fucking swap meet. Your country is just basically a talent pool where people get to just roll in and like, hey, I have a better idea how to run this fucking team. I want to be the coach here. I want to bring in some fucking specialty players. I got all these Africans who are real fucking fast and this, that, and the other. Yeah, but they beat up strippers and they're doing coke in the locker room. Yeah, but that's not what we're about. We're about putting points on the fucking board. No, motherfucker, none of that matters. This ain't your fucking team. Get the fuck out. And I'll tell you what is encouraging is I am starting to see that. You know, like, I think, like, way back when, I mean, dude, decades and change ago, when you could look at like a Breitbart or like Drudge Report. I haven't even looked at that in I don't even know how many years because that's just so, it's like an Israeli mouthpiece at this point. But back when you could just look at these things and there would be the comment section there and it was like, it was a fucking free for all. You could say whatever you could end tower, you know, do your own end tower. You could lean heavy on these cats, say whatever you want. And even like the most lightweight milquetoast of our, you know, our guy type positions, it was like people would get in your ass. You're like, you're a Nazi, bro. You're crazy, man. You're like a tinfoil hat. But now, you know, I mean, I'm banned off of so many platforms at this point. You could, you know, still stand up some kind of anonymous thing, but now you go and you look at any of these, you know, any kind of comment section and like, what does random man in the street think? What does the anonymous person think that can just say what he thinks without having to wear his own face to the party, right? And I mean, dude, they make us look like lightweights. I mean, there's people talking about like, I don't want any kind of program. I don't want jailings. I want stacks of bodies. I want all of them out. I don't care if they're here legally or not. I want every one of them gone. And it's like, well, it took you fucking long enough. But I mean, I guess that's the white man's trouble there is this constant effort to try to like, how can I make this right, dude? How can I do this without having to spill blood? How can you understand that I am motherfucking serious? I'm not being nice to you. Like, it's like the boomer t-shirt, man. Like, you're mistaking my kindness for weakness, right? But it's true, though. Like, the white man tries to be cool to you, man. We showed up, the British, the French, the Belgians, the Portuguese, the Spanish, they showed up, and you can bitch and cry that, like, they didn't let us have our own culture. Yeah, dude, but they brought you the wheel. They brought you fire. They've left you to your devices, and now what do you have? All you have is fucking complaints, right? And I know it's like the reverse grip argument of like, yeah, but living under a tent and human sacrifices, that was like our culture. Yeah, but it's, to me, is like you deserve to be eradicated at that point, dude. Like, you're basically just a jungle savage, and you show up to fucking South America, and it's like, this is our culture. Where's the culture part come in, dude? And to go a little further with it, I wouldn't say that like the English showed up to India or the Spanish showed up to South America and said, hey, I want to take part in your culture. Hey, I want to leech off of your culture. We're better. This is natural selection at work. Because I've heard some of that talk. Like, hey, this is just the course of evolution. The man of tomorrow is going to be, a mocha-colored 80 IQ simpleton. Like, no, that's not natural selection. If it was natural selection, then what could you say? Like, dude, I'm sorry. They do things better than we do. What can you do? Because that is what went down in India, South America, Africa, all of these places. You people cannot make fire. You people can barely fucking understand the wheel. This is where we're at on this. And now these Europeans showed up, and this is what you get. And, when I think of it in a different term of like, think of it this way. Like, what if somebody showed up tomorrow, say from space or something, and it was, they were people, but they were, let's say, blue. Whatever, blue people, right? Like, what's that fucking... that fucking comic book, dude, the Watchmen, right? And there's that blue guy that's like, he's supposed to be like super smart and, all this shit. He's jacked and tan, wears a Speedo everywhere. And he's the shit, right? So what if somebody fucking showed up here tomorrow and they're jacked, they're tan, they're blue, they're super fucking smart, they're super fucking efficient. Whatever you explain to them, they're going to understand your perspective. They're going to grasp the idea. They live a whole lot longer than you do. They're a lot more emotionally stable. They're not prone to fits of outrage or PTSD madness and, blowing themselves up for no reason at all. They don't do any of that shit. They're the shit. And they showed up and they're like, look, dude, I know you guys probably don't like it. I kind of like your daughter, though, and, it just is what it is, man, and I'm sorry if this upsets you. You don't want to see your own kind eradicated, but at the same time, you almost have to be like, well, look, I could see how this is just kind of a thing that's going to happen, man. I mean, the guy's smarter than me, he's jackeder than me, he's going to live longer than me, he's less susceptible to idiocy than me. I still prefer my own culture, but it's hard not to see the end of the line here. It just sort of is what it is. That would be natural selection. This other shit, where you're wheeling in people who shit in the streets and then somebody tries to sell you as like, oh, this is just the way it is, it's what the market wants. No, it's not what the market wants. It's what the tiny hat wants. All right, once again, you're fucking rug pulling me. You're telling me this fucking thing, it's just the way it is. I'm going to look out for you. I'm going to take care of you. Surprise, asshole. Fucking surprise. And now here's you unable to even get, some shitbox job because, I'm going to hire all of my friends and my cousins and that's the way that it's going to be. Thank you. No, not having that. So it is kind of encouraging to see people getting rug pilled. That like, no, motherfucker, you're not tricking me. I'm not standing for this shit. Anyway, moving on down the line, this do-it-yourself fucking Cybertruck bomber guy, man. I saw this initially and I was like, well, this just looks fucking stupid. And then it's like every time I hear something else about it, the stupider it sounds. And it just keeps getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. So I wanted to go down the rabbit hole a little bit with you on this and tell you what I had seen and heard so far, because it's fucking weird. It's weird as hell. So in the broad strokes, I will tell you this, that this guy, I want to say his name's Matthew Livelsberger, and I don't think the guy has a tiny hat. I saw one picture that looked like he was sporting the Yarmulke, but it actually turned out to be a set of sunglasses, which is just this operator thing. We called it the operator tiara because, like, I don't know why it is. Why dudes do that? I did it. I still do it. Dudes just fucking do it. It's fucking bizarre. It's a weird thing, but dudes do it. So he has like his little sunnies on his head and doing his fucking thing. I thought it was a yarmulke at first, and I was like, this motherfucker. But no, it's not. It's just sunglasses. Anyway, so this dude apparently, like the short version, this dude apparently rented a Tesla Cybertruck, loaded it up with fireworks, parked it in front of the Trump Hotel in Vegas, lit off the fireworks, and at some point shot himself in the head with a Desert Eagle .50. So that, in and of itself, is a little bit weird. I mean, it's just fucking weird, you know? I guess the dude had some, you know, like again, I'll try to like go in layers here of like, you know, least weird to most weird. So I guess the dude had some deployments. I don't know how heavy of any kind of shit this dude got into. I don't think he really got his oatmeal stirred good and proper, because I'll tell you something, unfortunately, I've seen dudes that have been IED'd or, you know, the TBI thing, and like no shit, like got their cage rattled real fucking good. And that does appear to fuck you up pretty fucking bad. And I don't know what the exact mechanism is, but dudes get fucking nutty, man. And I think they do get to a point of like, I just can't fucking go on, man. And they just check the fuck out, dude. I have seen it, heard of it more than a few times. It sucks. I don't know that dude ever got into any shit like that. I mean, I'll say that straight out of the gate. I do not know. It appears that in a lot of ways, this dude was, again, I don't have any visibility on what kind of deployments this guy had, so there's some speculation here on my part. This dude appears to have stepped out to more of the, how can I say, like more, I guess he went to the reserve route, so he was a reservist, and then, had gotten into some other wonky shit where this guy was on some TV show with Tim fucking Kennedy of all people. So again, I don't know, you know, and it only takes, you know, a day or two to get yourself fucked up. So I don't want to say this guy never did nothing, because I don't know the guy. But it does also appear that the guy had the time and the wherewithal to go get involved with like being on TV and being a reservist and hooking other dudes up with like, yeah, I'm, you know, connecting with this guy and I'm networking with that guy. And there's little pockets of, and I'm fucking up this explanation because this shit is kind of hard for me to explain without, you know, giving away too many details and shit. Let me say it this way. Within the special operations communities, like various communities and the community as a whole, there are a lot of little organizations that will help guys who are fucked up, that will help guys find jobs, that will just help guys like, hey man, do you just need somewhere to hang out? Because you leave that shit and there is a degree of like, who the fuck am I now, man? Like, I used to be this and now I'm just a guy who used to be something. What the fuck is that? And it fucks guys up. So apparently this dude had a good degree of involvement with some of those type communities. So he's passing guys off to different jobs. The guy, I guess, had been involved in some of this Ukraine type shit, which to me is lame. I mean, the whole thing with Ukraine, white men killing each other, I'm not a fucking fan, dude. I find it lame, but I've also seen where, you know, guys leave the community and They want to do something where they feel like they're doing something. And I knew a few guys that wanted to get involved with this, even with like this Afghanistan bullshit of like, bro, they helped us, bro. We gotta return the favor. We gotta get our people out. I'm like, you fucking asshole. I'm like, these are not our fucking people, and they didn't help you, idiot. You helped them. You went to their fucked up country and tried to help them do some shit. They're just the guy that like went and took a picture for you. They're just a guy that acted as an interpreter for you. Knock this shit off. All right, you help them. If anything, they should be sending you money, saying, thanks, sorry, we couldn't help enough. Like you had the entire U.S. military there, and you still fucking refused to stand up a functional country. So, you don't owe them shit. But nonetheless, dudes will get involved in this shit. They think they're, whatever, bunny ears helping, and that appears to be something that this guy was doing. I don't know for sure whether he was ever on the ground doing some kind of advisory, instructional type shit. That is something that SF does. I don't know that he was ever involved in that. What the fuck ever. And so, I mean, that's like a lot of caveats, but I want to say I'm not like shit talking this guy as, as a fucking soldier or as an operator or any of that kind of thing, because I don't fucking know him. I don't know the guy. I don't know any of the shit that he did. All I could say is like the guy was on TV with Tim fucking Kennedy, and that should say as much as needs to be said about the guy's mental state. So apparently then, as the shit gets weirder, this dude had one ex-wife, as most dudes do, had one ex-wife that he split from in 2018, and then I guess he got remarried. He got orders to Germany, and his wife then, his new wife, stayed behind. At some point in recent history, between remarriage and January 1st, this woman gave birth to a kid that was rumored to be his, and now the most recent suggestion is that this is not his kid. So what they were saying on this podcast that I'll get to later is that reports have come out that the DNA of that kid does not match the DNA of the splatter that was inside the Tesla Cybertruck. So what we can kind of conclude then is that this guy got divorced, got remarried, had a kid turned out to not be his. That wife that he had this kid with did not accompany him to Germany. Now I do know, well, how can I say I do know? He was in Germany. I don't know if he was on temporary orders or permanent orders or exactly what, but for whatever reason, his wife did not go with. She stayed back with their kid. So who the fuck knows why? I mean, sometimes dudes do that. I couldn't say. Anyway, the way the timeline played out is that this guy comes back, goes to see his ex-wife, and then departs his ex-wife, rents a Cybertruck, and is driving across the country. My understanding is driving from Colorado to Las Vegas. Kind of jumping ahead, since this whole thing came out, they had went and contacted, like the news, whatever, different news outlets. I saw where they had contacted this guy's, Bunny Ear's current wife and his ex-wife. Neither of these bitches wasted a second shit-talking this guy to the fucking press. Like, the guy ain't been dead 48 hours. And they're already in this guy's ass. Yeah, this fucking guy, man. Fuck this guy. So his ex-wife, straight out, hands over this video of the two of them in an airport. And they're going somewhere. I don't know where they're going on vacation. And he's doing like a little selfie video. And it's this business of like, hey, it's me and whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, we're going on vacation and doing a little video, but I promised I wouldn't be weird. She says I can't be weird on this trip. And the whole time she's rolling her eyes, giving this look at this fucking guy. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, because this is a look I've seen 1,000 fucking times. And it's like this business of like, bitch, I'm paying for this fucking caper. I'm paying to have you around, probably pays for the roof she lives under, paying to take her on some vacation someplace. The guy has a hard enough fucking job. And now he's, instead of just going somewhere by himself and relaxing and like, I don't need any bullshit out of anyone, takes this fucking broad And here's her in the fucking airport rolling her fucking eyes. Oh, God, what a fucking dork. Oh, my God. And then they interview the fucking neighbor. And mind you, this ain't 48 hours after this guy is gone. And then the neighbor, some fucking friend of hers, is like, yeah, he was a weirdo. He preyed on her constantly. On and fucking on. So I'm like, you know what, man? Fuck these fucking broads. So bumping over to the current wife now, they go talk to the current wife, and she wastes no time saying, well, yeah, he was in Germany. I stayed here, but I broke up with him. And this is her words. I broke up with him. Like you just decide I don't want to be married, so you just break up with somebody. I broke up with him because he had been in contact with some of his ex-girlfriends. So I ain't going to say that's cool. I will say it's shit that goes on, man. What do you fucking want, dude? I mean, this is shit that people do in the modern fucking world. Did he have his dick in his ex-girlfriends? I don't know that. Did he text them? Am I saying it's cool? No. Am I saying that it's some shit that happens a lot, especially in the military? Yes, it is. This shit happens, all right? And apparently for her, though, this was a fucking deal breaker. So she, bunny ears, broke up with him, and he then rents this Cybertruck. I guess he came home to see his kid, basically. Rents this Cybertruck in Colorado, and I don't know that that's where this woman is or what, but rents it in Colorado and then drives it to Vegas. While he's driving to Vegas, he apparently texts his ex-girlfriend talking about, like, yeah, this fucking truck is cool, it's this, it's that. Gets to Vegas and then blows himself up. Somehow, in the middle of this thing, and this is where, like, the podcast shit comes in, he apparently sends an email to some dude that's like, you know, Mr. Military Influencer Poster. And I don't know who the guy is, but he's a guy that got in touch with the Sean Ryan podcast. And he was just on that podcast yesterday, this influencer guy. So he gets in touch with this guy, and he says, like, hey, man, here's my name, and here's, like, how you'll know it's me, and gives him links to all of his LinkedIn profiles and all this shit. And he's talking about, I have information, man, on drone warfare, and, you know, it's all these crazy drones on the East Coast. These are all, Chinese technology, and they've been using this anti-gravity stuff, and this anti-gravity technology, you know, for the drones is only stuff that us and China have, and bro, this info's got to get out, and it's mutually assured destruction if it doesn't, bro. So get in touch with me, bro, and here's how you'll know it's me, and here's all my clearances, and this and that and the other, and I think I'm being followed, so I might make for Mexico, but you got to put me in touch with Sean Ryan and Fox News, and I'll be back in touch, you know, when I can get a chance to do this, and, you know, and I might have to do something if I feel like they're getting close and this kind of shit. But he never passes any fucking actual information. Never actually passes anything that anybody could go like, holy fuck, man, this is the genuine article. All the guy really says is like some shit. Oh, and then he says he has like a VBID, like a VBIED, Vehicle-Borne Improvised Explosive Device. Talking about like, yeah, man, they're following me, but I don't think they're going to fuck around, you know, because I think they know that I have a gun and a VBID, so they're not going to try me, bro, but I'm going to make for Mexico, bro. But so here's the thing is like, you're saying this to this guy who is, and again, I don't really follow that kind of shit, but apparently the guy is a fairly well-known public face in the vet bro influencer type talking head circles. He sends it to this guy knowing that a guy in that position is going to have to hand it over to law enforcement. Like you email a guy in that spot and say, I have a VBID and I have a gun and I'm going to cut loose on all of this classified. He's going to have to call somebody. If he doesn't, he's on the fucking hook now. You put that guy on the fucking hook. But now knowing that he's going to have to say something, you also tell him that I'm headed for Vegas, I'm headed for Mexico, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. What the fuck? So you got this secret plan that you don't want anybody to know about, but then you also tell the guy where you're going to be and how you're going to get there, you know, knowing that he's going to have to give that up. But then you also don't give any useful information. And then you start asking about like, bro, I got to get put in touch with Pete Hegseth and I got to get put in touch with Sean Ryan and I got to be on Fox News. I swear to God, he's saying this shit. Like, I need to be in touch with Fox News. And it's like, dude, stop asking to be on fucking TV. Stop asking to be on the fucking radio. Just cough up the fucking info, dude. Cough up the info while you're coughing up, like, here's me. Here's how you'll know it's a genuine article. Cough that shit up. But he doesn't do any of that. So I did, before we wrap this thing up, I did listen to the whole fucking Sean Ryan podcast where this shit came out. So they did like this hasty, like, let's get this guy on, because he did say something about VBID. Maybe I fucking, blow my own fucking deal before they roll me up, and I can't risk, compromising this shit. They don't want me to share what I know and this kind of shit. That's their way of saying, like, yeah, we know that this was him, so he must have had something because he got blown up. I don't really fucking think so, but I'll get to why here in a second. So they got this guy on the Sean Ryan show. They do this hasty fucking podcast and talk through this stuff. The guy talks through the email that the guy sent him, talks through how he contacted him on Signal and, sent him fucking emails and so on. And he's telling him, like, yeah, I think there's maybe some crazy shit's going to come out, some information and this and that. And they're saying that they think that it's the genuine article just because the guy, punched his own ticket, apparently. But then the whole Sean Ryan thing kind of wraps up, and I'm listening to this shit. It's like an hour and a fucking half. And they did not say to us anything that I am not saying to you. Just total speculation. And then what do is like, all right, we're going to follow up on this, and there's going to be some explosive details. But first, I'm going on vacation. And like, what? What the fuck is this? So that was like the shit that came out today. Was somebody just forwarded me that was like, Sean Ryan is like, yeah, I'm going to relocate my family and take some time. So basically, you're going to go on vacation. But we have some explosive details. Like, motherfucker, you have no details. Dude, I'll eat my fucking hat if they come out with like, holy shit, fucking UFO technology. Holy shit, it's China with these drones and aliens are actually Chinese, or it's what the fuck ever. If it's anything, I don't believe it'll be anything. And I'm not trying to say nothing ever happens. I'm just trying to say when some fucking guy who would stand in every way to benefit by getting information out there first, not getting news cucked, the guy wants to get this shit out there first. What does he do instead? I'm going to take some time. But just wait. Explosive shit. Stay tuned. Like, no, dude. There's no explosive shit. We're just going to fucking let this shit die down, and then we'll go on to the next fucking bullshit, fake fuck rug pull circus, as soon as that comes out. So, here's what I think happened was the guy's got an ex-wife, like everybody does. The guy gets married again, has a kid, goes to Germany, comes back. She says, somehow, I know you've been in contact with your ex, some kind of shit, and finds out the kid ain't his. Decides he's going to punch his own ticket, but wants to make a fucking show. So he rents a Cybertruck with the fucking, and they advertise it as such. It's fucking bulletproof. It's stainless steel. It's a hard-ass vehicle. Rents this fucking thing. Loads it up with fucking fireworks, knowing that it ain't going to actually hurt anybody. It's just going to blow up, not out. Auto programs it to drive to the Trump Hotel. Pops his own top. Sets the firework thing in motion. I don't know, maybe some kind of timer type thing. Maybe fucking lights off the fireworks just as he's fucking unloading into his own head. And that's it. That's all. But people are using it to grab onto and like, hey, man, let's turn this into something. I mean, to me, that's the simplest fucking answer. I mean, the weakest fucking sauce I've seen is that, like, oh, this fucking Truck of Peace guy in New Orleans and this dude rented their vehicles through the same app. Okay, so they rented through the same fucking app. I never heard of the app. I've never used the app, but so? And I don't know if it's a prominent app or I don't know if it's just a very small time app that only runs out of Tel Aviv. If that was the case, I'd like to hear about it. But I don't know that any of this is anything in that sense. If it was, I imagine we would have heard more about it before now. And also this business of, oh, well, they were at the same base. They were stationed at the same base. They were MK Ultra recruited, by the same people. I mean, dude, here's the thing. Look, I'm willing to entertain all that shit. And yeah, I know the fucking sleeper agent thing and the MK Ultra thing. This is a genuine article. And I do not doubt that there's probably almost 99% certain there's some version of that shit going on today. But I will also say, with as much ass pain as it would take to stand up something like that, like to get a guy to a point where like, yeah, this guy will do whatever I say whenever I say it. And this is how you're going to waste an asset like that? With some broke-ass truck of peace attack or blowing himself up in a rental car in front of a hotel? Like, this is fucking stupid. Like, that's an absolute fucking waste of an asset, dude. But, you know, and real quick, as far as the MK Ultra tip is concerned, like, I don't really know that you have to secret squirrel program people to do something that you can find people ready and willing to do today. I mean, with as many fucking screwballs as are out there, I don't know that you could throw a rock without hitting somebody that's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do that. I'll do whatever the fuck it is. Coat yourself in fucking Jell-O and ice skate through a Walmart. I'll do it. Like, there's somebody that'll do just about any fucking thing at this point, man. The world's a fucking nutty place. So the MK Ultra thing, like, is this trip really necessary? I don't really think so. But that's not really the argument here, man. So, the argument to me, I guess, is trying to turn this guy who, until I really see anything that demonstrates otherwise, you know, if you know, I'll eat my fucking hat, dude, if Sean Ryan comes out with like, yeah, okay, check this shit out, bro. But again, remember, this guy was proper blue badge wearing CIA guy. So pretty much anything that comes out of this guy's mouth, like this is a company man, dude. This is a company man. And he'll sit right on his show and talk about, yeah, bro, the government, bro. You know, you can't really trust the government. The guy could say whatever the fuck he wants to say, man. As long as it gets you to believe what they need you to believe, that's the only real point here, right? Like, yeah, fuck the government, bro. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, hey, here, go kidnap this governor in Michigan. Okay. And oh, surprise, surprise. Who's behind that, right? So, bouncing over real quick, though, to the truck of peace thing in New Orleans. Apparently this guy, and this I do think was more glowish. This dude was apparently just some standard issue black dude that was in the army and was stationed at the same base at some point as this Livelsberger guy. But, spoiler, it's the biggest fucking base in the country. Right? Fort Bragg, what I guess they're calling now Fort Liberty. They call it Fort Walmart, for fuck's sake. Anyway, so I guess they're saying, oh yeah, they were stationed at the same base. Big fucking deal. This dude, though, I guess became Muslim, like changed his name from whatever, Cassius Clay to whatever the fuck his fake fuck Haji name is now. Changed his name and was living in an all-Muslim enclave. And I guess some news outlets had gone to that neighborhood trying to find people to see if, like, does anybody even know this guy? And people either couldn't speak English or claimed to be unable to speak English and would not talk to anyone. So basically, you got like a proper jihadi enclave there. So that thing, I mean, there's some dodgy business there. I don't doubt that this dude actually did that thing. There was a lot of talk of this guy had help, this guy had co-conspirators, but now it has suddenly been relegated to, oh no, he acted alone. And they had some woman that is very, very closely linked, has covered several APAC events, is part of the PragerU student media program. So basically, Tiny Hat Club reporter somehow got access to what they're calling this guy's residence, just cruising around, walking around, filming things that are all laid out, like, look at all this extremist material, and look at this guy was doing this, this, and this. And everybody who's seen this is like, yeah, this is bullshit, dude. You just cruised into this guy's house unaccompanied, and all this stuff is out there, and all this evidence that's just unpackaged and unmanaged, and like, what if you added something or took something away? I mean, you basically make the guy's defense case for him. So that whole thing, it either smells of made it happen or let it happen, and they're really, really amplifying it. So who knows what's going to come down the pipe off of that thing. So all in all, man, I mean, just look for more gay ops. That's it. That's all. I mean, everything is fucking fake. Everything is fucking gay. I wouldn't be surprised if they springboard off of this to do something that directly fucks up your life, which brings us to the Spanish Inquisition. So figure we could wrap it up on that. So yeah, man, I don't remember what. Oh, I think I was looking for a Halloween costume, and it made me think of that Monty Python, Spanish Inquisition thing. If you ain't seen it, man, YouTube them shits. And I was like, yeah, it might be a cool costume, And then I was like, I don't really know anything about the Spanish Inquisition. I mean, just, what you hear in high school, like, Inquisition bad, like you fuck people up and burn them at the stake for no reason at all. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, I'll just fucking bet. So I looked it up, and man, it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint a bit. So to kind of grasp this shit, I think you kind of have to go back to 711 AD, and this is something else that I need to do a deep dive, is the Moorish conquest of the Iberian Peninsula, where the Moors from North Africa come across and take over Spain and Portugal and such. And why did that happen, and what did that look like? And if you've been in our circle long enough, you'll be familiar with the Gates of Toledo story from 711 AD, whereby, surprise, surprise, some tiny hats take a break from coin clipping, leave the gates of the city open, and allow the Moorish conquest to really get going. So they get a foothold in Toledo, basically move northwards, and every time they move, they just leave, resident coin clipper in charge. Eventually, they get all the way north, and at some point, and this is what I got to look into because I don't know the whole story. I've seen a little bit about it, and it seems very inspiring, but at some point, way up in the north where it seems like a done deal, there's some small city, some small group of people that are like, you know what, fuck this, let's start fucking these people up. And they just start smashing these Muslims, and this is like the original Reconquista, push them all the way south and the fuck out of Spain. However, though, in the process of doing this now, you're trying to get your country back on its feet, and you've got the church. So, unlike now where, the state government is what organizes and regulates things, in this case, you've got the monarchy and the church that's going to try to keep the wheels on a society. So you've got the Catholic Church that is, from everything I've seen, man, from everything I read about it, and I tried to listen to one podcast about it, and it's some podcasts I think are a good example of what I don't ever want to do, where it's like, hey everybody, hey boys and girls, today, woo woo woo, wacky sounds, and we're going to talk about, and like all the fucking fake fuck hype and all this, dude. I'm not having that shit. But the stuff I did listen to on my Inquisition, from everything I could tell, it honestly does seem like the Catholic Church did their level best to try to give these fucking jerks a fair shake, and to try to make this thing work out, and to just restore fucking order. And part of the problem here was that you've got these tiny hats, and they've got all of this real estate, and all of this currency, and all of this power, and obviously they cannot be trusted, right? So as you're moving south and you're trying to reestablish order, and obviously these people's belief and their way of living and their way of conducting themselves does not jive with the Christian way of doing anything. They're saying like, look, man, this Jewish religion, this cannot go. You gotta be on with us, or you're gonna be very isolated. You're not gonna be doing business. We're not having this. So this thing really kicked off, and I think it was 1391 is when it got going good and proper. So this is right about the time that it's as the Reconquista is, mid stride and winding down and such. So the issue here is, and I think this can't be said enough, is that, look, you've got 109 countries, 110 if you count that jungle in Guatemala, where these people, these coin clippers, have been shown the door. Not because of just they're over there living their life, but because of the way they conduct themselves, the way that they behave. Their way of living is by definition parasitic. They cannot get by on their own. They cannot get by without somehow coming to you and weasel dicking and loaning and extracting interest and somehow leveraging and making you feel bad to give them free shit. It is their means of existence. It is their means of survival. So when the Catholic Church comes to them and they're like, look, man, this shit is a no-go, dude. We cannot have this shit. You're out, dude. You're not fucking part of our society. Then you would have what you call conversos, where it's people, bunny ears of the Jewish faith, because obviously they don't understand about, genetics, race, and so on, of the Jewish faith, bunny ears, converting to Catholicism in order to continue their business. And this is something that we've seen throughout history. You see it throughout Europe, you see it in Russia, you see it here. All right, well, I was raised Catholic. Like, get the fuck out of here, right? How many tiny hats do you see involved in these Catholic immigration organizations, right? A lot. So they would pull this converso shit, and now when they get hemmed up, it's like, well, wait, you're still practicing Judaism. So now, if you get rolled up as a member of the church, like when they see you as a member of the church, is like, well, look, you're one of us now, but you're doing this shit. So when they would catch them practicing Jewish religion, whether it's their little fast or avoiding pork or not crossing themselves when they get out of bed in the morning, although how would you see somebody doing that? I don't know. Now they would bring them in and like, hey, why don't you come in here and explain yourself, because we have some suspicions. If they got rolled up, as a heretic, then they could just be burned. And that was the Catholic Church's prerogative for like, look, if you're in this club and you fuck around, then you're going to get burned. Later, it became an issue of, well, look, maybe we force convert people and that'll get them to fucking behave. That didn't really work either, because then they would convert. And then if it got to where maybe they were slipping a little, they would sell their property to like a nephew, a cousin, a brother. And now if you're going to get your property confiscated or you're going to get jailed, well, it doesn't really matter because I don't own anything. You see, my brother owns it over there. So eventually this shit came down to like the 1490s. So once again, 1492, right? When did Spanish Golden Age start? This is when, the church and the monarchy had a lot of back and forth with the Vatican talking about, look, we want to get rid of these fuckers, but if we get rid of them, like we just kick them out, they take all the money with, because they have all this money, because they've weasel-dicked it for however many hundreds of years while the Moors were here, and now they continue plying their trade, right, loaning and conning and hustling. So we have to extract this money back. So they would make all of these deals like, look, just stop your bullshit, pay a fine, and then go about your way. Just get the fuck out of here. Eventually they just said, 1492, they just said, get the fuck out. Queen Isabella just launches them the fuck out. They get launched to largely to Portugal, where they continue the same shit. Portugal has to have their own Inquisition. Spain and Portugal together eventually launched a lot of them to, the territories out to South America. And then they're getting reports back from like fucking Peru of like, hey, we got a problem with a lot of the conversos out here. So it became a thing where like they would have to round up conversos and send their silly fucking asses out to some outpost or other where somebody from the Inquisition would question them and interrogate them and interview witnesses. And a lot of times it's like, yeah, they're obviously fucking Jewish. You're Jewish, you're practicing Judaism, you're up to your old tricks. You gotta fucking go, man. You can't be goddamn trusted. You're like a fucking virus. So they would burn these people at the stake. Sometimes they would imprison them, and that was the good deal. But then a lot of times it was like, look, you have to be fucking burned. So I think that's why the Spanish Inquisition is like they won't ever really discuss it, like something else that we're all very familiar with, right? It doesn't really get discussed. It just gets like, oh yeah, this was a horrible time in European history. Oh yeah, this was evil. This was madness. This was groupthink and propaganda and, theocracy and all this shit. No, dude, this was coin clipper tricks. That's all this fucking is. So that was kind of my takeaway on the Spanish Inquisition. Not a totally bad thing, but I want to get a better look at the whole Gates of Toledo and the Moorish conquest and that whole thing, and hopefully have some more detailed info. So when we do our own thing, we don't come light, yeah, like Germany did. We can step in here with the proper tools and like, all right, look, you're gonna have to be dealt with, right, and deal accordingly. But as for me, man, I have some fish to fry, some shit to do. So if you dig any of this weirdness, please feel free to leave it where someone can find it. And until next time, man, I hope you are having a semi-tolerable new year. But keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee, and these are my takes.